Welcome back, students. Last class we discussed electric flux. As we started a Gauss law. From the Gauss law, as a part, we started discussing electric flux. And electric flux through a area which is kept parallel to the uniform electric field and perpendicular to the uniform electric field. Both the cases we studied. The continuation of the previous topic is Gauss theorem. What is this Gauss theorem? Gauss theorem explains the electric field intensity over a closed surface. The magnitude of electric flux through a closed surface was given by this Gauss theorem. The Gauss law states that the electric field intensity over a closed surface. This closed surface is an imaginary surface, is called as Gaussian surface. Okay, once we draw the diagram, we'll understand. So what is Gauss theorem? Electric field intensity over a closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the net charge enclosed by the surface. So one more time, the electric field intensity over any closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the net charge enclosed by the surface. Then the Gauss law, last class we told that the flux will be denoted by the symbol phi. So electric flux formula we derived EA, correct? This is the formula we derived in last class. In an integration form, we wrote that integration over EA cos theta, correct? EA cos theta. Or this A is a total area of the surface, that also can be written dA, a small area, dA or ds. Okay, then here this integration symbol is called as integration over a closed surface. This round explains over a closed surface. That means the flux is found only through that closed surface, not other places. Then in this equation, the integration over a closed surface E vector dot ds vector, where ds is a small area, is considered. Okay, then forget about this term. Then let us prove the Gauss theorem for spherical surface, symmetrically spherical surface. Consider this symmetrically spherical surface in which the central point of the symmetric is O, and a plus q charge is placed at a point O, and I am going to consider a small surface on the surface of the spherical symmetry. It has an area of ds. Then it is located at the distance r from the midpoint, that is from point to O. Then the direction of the ds is acting in this way. See that arrow mark, ds vector. Then the electric field is acts along the direction of the direction which passes through the closed surface. Okay, then according to the equation, the small flux through this area is denoted by d phi. Phi is the electric flux, d phi is the small flux passing through the area, is equal to E dot ds or E ds cos theta. If you want to express in a scalar quantity, it will be E ds cos theta, because it is a dot product, no? So dot product can be written in a cos theta. Then what is this E? E is the electric field due to the point charge. Already we discussed the electric field due to the point charge, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q divided by r square. This is the formula for electric field. Let me substitute this value of V here. That is the value is given here, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square into r cap, and ds into n cap. N cap is called a normal plane or normal vector. Then let us take the terms 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square ds and the r cap dot n cap, which is can be written in another way, r cap dot n cap is equal to 1 cross 1 cos theta, that is r cap dot n cap is equal to r cap n cap cos theta, correct? Because it is a dot product, dot product we can write cos theta. Then the unit vectors are 1, then cos 0 is equal to 1. So the total value of r cap dot n cap is equal to 1. So this term will become 1. Then the flux through this small surface will be given as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q ds r square divided by r square. So this is the flux through the area. This is the flux through an area. So this is what the statement proved. Gauss law is proved from spherical surface. Now the total flux through this area will be integration of this d phi, this small flux. So substitute the value of flux over here, then you will get the constant term will come out of the integration, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square integration over a closed surface into ds. What is ds? Small area. When I integrate the small area, I'll get a total area, that is integration over ds will be equal to a total area. So this integration can be written as area A. What is the area of the sphere? Spherical symmetric sphere, that is 4 pi r square. That is the formula to calculate area of the sphere, correct? So instead of this integration over ds, I can write the value, instead of this integration over ds, I can write the value of 4 pi r square. Substitute this value. When I substitute that, in this the term 4 pi and 4 pi gets cancelled, and r square gets cancelled. What is this remaining term is there? Q by epsilon naught. What is the Gauss theorem statements told? Which is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the net charge enclosed by the surface. That is the statement is proved because this equation is equal to 1 by epsilon naught into q. I can separate like this. So 1 by epsilon naught times q. Multiplication is written in English as times. So 1 by epsilon naught times the net charge enclosed by the surface. So this is the proof. We can prove a Gauss law for symmetrically spherical surface. Then there is a relation between Coulomb's law and Gauss theorem. 3 mark question. Obtain a relation between or obtain Coulomb's law from Gauss theorem. In order to calculate this Coulomb's law from Gauss theorem, I am going to consider a symmetrically spherical sphere in which the center point O, at which I am going to place q charge, and I am going to consider electric field is radially acts outward. Then a small area is considered on the surface of the spherical sphere, and which is located at the distance r from the center of the spherical sphere. Then the direction of the ds vector is same direction to the electric field. Then from the Gauss law, we know the formula for Gauss law. Gauss law states that the flux over a closed surface is E dot ds, that is E vector dot ds vector, which is equal to q by epsilon naught. That is what we proved in a previous case, correct? Last slide. Then this E and ds are in same direction, therefore the value of, see the vectors, what is the value of, how will you write this E vector dot ds vector, which is equal to what? E ds cos theta, correct? Because it is a dot product, we can write in cos theta. Since they are in same direction, then the theta is equal to 0 degree. Since theta is equal to 0 degree, cos 0 degree is equal to what? 1. Then this formula will become E ds dot 1. So E ds, that is the value. So integration over E ds is equal to q by epsilon naught. See that there is a change. Here there is a vector, here there is no vector. It's a magnitude of the electric flux only. Then the equation can be written in another way. See, the electric field due to the point charge will be uniform around the charge. So uniform in the sense constant. We cannot do the integration of the constant, which will come out of the integration. Then you will get E as a constant is comes out of the integration, and integration over a closed surface into ds. Then what is integration of ds? I told you previously, integration over a closed surface, small surface ds is equal to area A. Okay, this area, this is a spherical sphere, correct? Then what's the formula for sphere? Area of the sphere, 4 pi r square. That means if you replace this integration over ds by 4 pi r square, we will get, see that the integration is replaced by 4 pi r square. Then electric field can be found this. Take this one, 4 pi r square to the other side. Since it is a multiplication, it comes to the other side, it will become division. Then E is equal to 1 by epsilon naught 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. Now you derive the electric field formula. If the charge q naught is placed at the point where E is calculated, then the force between them, see, this can be derived. See, what's the formula for force? We wrote, we studied in very beginning. Electric field intensity, do you remember the formula for electric field intensity? That is E is equal to F by Q naught, correct? That is the electric field intensity formula, force experienced by point charge. Take this Q naught to the other side. Take this q naught on other side, then you will get F equal to E q naught, correct? You know the value of E here. Just multiply the value by q naught, then you will get the force F is equal to q naught divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. This is the formula we derived in a first class for Coulomb's law. What's Coulomb's law says? The force of attraction or repulsion between the 2 point charges is directly proportional to product of charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. I started with Gauss theorem and then I obtained with Gauss law. It's a 3-mark question. Okay. Then the next application of Gauss theorem. Where do we apply this Gauss theorem? The first application of Gauss theorem is electric field intensity due to infinitely long straight charged wire. So that means a wire carries a current, a charge. So charge in the sense it can be a positive or negative charge. In this case, I am going to consider infinity long straight conductor which carries the positive charge. Which carries the positive charge in the sense the electric field intensity will be radially outward. That means the electric lines of force will be originated from positive charge. So this will be the direction of the electric field. It will goes radially outward. Okay. Now I am going to consider a Gaussian surface, that is a closed surface on this. So this is a cylinder. I am going to consider imaginary cylinder, that is Gaussian surface on this infinity long straight line conductor. So Gaussian surface is a closed surface around a charge distribution. So this is this straight line, this straight wire carries the charge, in which I am going to consider a closed surface around the charge. That is called Gaussian surface, such that the electric field intensity has a single fixed value at every point on the surface. That means all over this surface the electric field intensity value will be same, that is constant everywhere on the Gaussian surface. Now I am going to consider as the length of the cylinder will be L and its radius is R. See here it is denoted, the radius is r, so its circumference will be 2 pi r. Its circumference will be 2 pi r. Then area of this cylinder will be 2 pi r into L. Okay, area of this cylinder will be 2 pi r L. Make note this, we'll use this later. Then I'm going to consider three surfaces on this cylinder, A and B and C. Let's say the A is considered at this end, and their radius, the direction of the area will be acting, direction of the electric field and the area is acting perpendicular to each other. And the same way I'm going to consider point B on another surface, another side of the cylinder. There also the direction of the electric field and direction of the area vector are perpendicular to each other. That means they act perpendicular to each other. On another surface is considered on the closed curved path, on the curved path of the cylinder. So this is the curved path of the cylinder in which the direction of the dx vector and the electric fields are acting at same direction. Since the direction, see that since it is a positive charge, the electric field will goes out, in which I am going to consider a small area which is also acts in the same direction. That means they are acting along the same direction. That means the theta will become 0. So in this case the theta is 90 degree here, in this case theta is 90 degree, but in this case theta is equal to 0 degree. So I have three surfaces on the Gaussian surface. The flux through this surface will be sum of electric flux at point A and electric flux at point B and electric flux at point C. So I have to add all the values. Let calculate that from the Gauss law. You know the formula for Gauss law, integration over E vector dot ds vector is equal to q by epsilon naught. Then the flux is integration over a closed surface E vector dot ds vector is equal to integration over A E vector dot ds vector. That means I am considering only this part. Okay, the flux through point A is calculated E vector dot ds. Then same way for B. See, there is a plus sign. Okay. There is a plus sign. Then for surface B, integration over B E vector dot ds vector plus, then the surface C, integration over surface C E vector dot ds vector. That is what next. So that means I am considering all the electric flux at the point A and B and C. I am summing together. Then I told you the angle between angle at the point A is 90 degree. So that cos, here it is denoted 90 degree. For B is also 90 degree. For C it is 0 degree. C is here. C is here. Then C is equal to 0 degree. Then that means this term cos 90 degree is equal to 0. So cos 90 degree is equal to 0. This term is vanished. Then finally the total electric flux due to this cylinder will be integration over E ds, because this cos 0 is equal to 1. So that is the equation we derived here. The next, I told you the integration, the area of this cylinder is 2 pi RL. 2 pi RL. This integration over a small surface is equal to total area, that is integration over ds is equal to capital A, that is area. Area is calculated here, that is 2 pi RL. That means substitute the value of integration over ds as a 2 pi RL. So the total flux will be 2 pi RL. Then the next, in the previous slide we derived, here take integration over E vector dot ds vector is equal to what? Q by epsilon naught, which is equal to what? This E into 2 pi RL. So here q by epsilon naught. What is q? Charge on the infinity long straight line wire. So in order to calculate this q value, first I should know what is the charge density at the wire. So the charge density is calculated as linear charge density because it's a straight line conductor, no? So linear charge density will be denoted by the symbol lambda, which is equal to q by L. Charge per unit length. What is lambda? Charge per unit length is called as linear charge density. From this I can calculate what is the value of q. Q is equal to, take the L, take this L to the other side, so that it will become lambda into L. So the value of q is lambda L. Substitute the value of q here, so you will get is equal to lambda L divided by epsilon naught. That is what they wrote here. See, lambda L by q by epsilon naught is equal to lambda L by epsilon naught, where lambda is called linear charge density. Then we know the formula, q by epsilon naught is equal to E into 2 pi RL. Then in this term, L, this L gets cancelled. Then electric field intensity will be equal to lambda divided by 2 pi r epsilon naught. Take this term here, so that you will get the electric field intensity due to a straight line conductor will be lambda divided by 2 pi r epsilon naught. That is what here. E is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi epsilon naught lambda by r. In other way, it can be written 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2 lambda by r. See that there is a change. Here we wrote 4 and 2. That means I multiplied and divide the term by 2, so that I am getting this equation. Then in a vector form, it is denoted as E vector is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught lambda L by r into r cap. That is a vector notation. The direction of the electric field intensity is radially outward from the positive line charge. If the line, straight line conductor, carries the negative charge, then the direction of the electric field intensity will be radially inward. So the electric field intensity is independent of the size of the Gaussian surface constructed. See, it is not depends on the surface of the Gaussian surface, or independent of size of the Gaussian surface. It is depends only the distance of the point is considered, where we consider that Gaussian surface. So this is what the application of Gauss theorem. So up to this, the class gets over. We will continue in next class. Thank you.